Welcome to the Biz Bash podcast, where we make biz strategy a piece of cake. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Cami, but you might know us better as Eliza Ann Calligraphy and Cami Monet. We want to help you, our fellow stationers, artists, and calligraphers, confidently build a profitable and personality-driven creative biz.
We're here to share our honest-to-goodness advice and actionable strategies for ambitious artists.
So put on your party hat, quit being a procrastinator gator, and let's get this party started.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Biz Bash podcast. This is our episode number 7, and today we are going to be talking about tips for building your own website. This one is a bit of a doozy, just because people get really intimidated at the beginning and scared of taking those first steps to build a website. It sounds like a really, really big thing, but what we're going to do today is break it down for you guys a little more, take some of that tech intimidation out of the equation, and help you guys figure out the most basic steps for getting your own website started. Before we dive into the discussion, we're going to have Cami go ahead and share a user review for us.
Yeah, you guys. So today we're going to talk about making your website easy, breezy, beautiful, cover girl. Okay, but first of all, I want to read this review because it's so sweet.
I cannot.
Oh my gosh.
You're
okay.
so funny.
So this review is from KMP Calligraphy, and it says 5 stars. It's a little emoji. I'm just reading it. Cami and Elizabeth are a match made in heaven. I've only listened to 1 episode so far and cannot wait for my commute home from work. Did I really just say that? Girl, you did. So I can listen to the next one. Biz Bash provides practical advice for creatives such as myself who have recently launched their business. Cami and Elizabeth are transparent about their triumphs and trials as they have grown their successful businesses. Perfect for all creativepreneurs out there. Thank you, KMP Calligraphy. That is so sweet, and we hope to, join you on your commute home all the time. So exciting. All right, let's dive into today's episode about building your own website. It's really not as scary as it seems. Everyone gets really overwhelmed with this, and they get so confused about the tech side of things and having a logo in place and colors and design and videos and moving parts and blah, blah, blah. But it can totally be as basic as you need it to be and still look fabulous. I think our websites both started off super basic and have definitely changed a lot. We're not website experts or anything, but this is just the stuff that's worked for us. So number 1, you got to decide what website builder you want to use, right?
Yes.
So there's so many different ones out there. Elizabeth, you use Squarespace for yours, right?
Yes, that's correct. I have specific experience with Squarespace and also Wix.
Yeah, and I use Shopify for my website. I used to use Squarespace, and I love Squarespace and Shopify. I love them both, so would definitely recommend. And I mean, you can go your own route, coding your own website, but why would you do that when you have all these easy resources available to you? There's also Showit, which I know is getting really popular now. I think you can integrate Shopify with Showit, so I might look into doing that because the design looks really cool. But I think if you're just starting out, brand new baby biz, I would definitely go with Squarespace. It is so user friendly. It's literally drag and drop on pretty much everything. I mean, it makes it so simple. The templates you can choose from there are really easy to customize too.
There's definitely, a learning curve with any platform. And I remember in Squarespace, the blocks used to confuse me a lot at first. But once you get a handle of the verbiage for everything, it is pretty darn easy to plug stuff in. You don't have to worry about any coding stuff at all if you're using Squarespace. And the reason I want to say real quick that we didn't mention WordPress is because, first of all, there is a lot of coding that goes on the back end for that. You can have templates, but then the back end's very confusing. I have WordPress experience too at the company I used to work for before I was full time. And a lot of people are going to tell you, well, if you want to be in SEO ratings on Google or whatever, if you want to have a high rating, you have to have WordPress. That's just not true anymore. Squarespace is such an amazing competitor, and I have ranked on plenty of pages using Squarespace.
WordPress just lets you see more of those options because it's tech overload on WordPress. Basically, Squarespace is very streamlined, only gives you what you really, really need, and WordPress gives you the full shebang. But in terms of where to put your SEO, but it's really overwhelming. I have experience with WordPress as well. My parents' venue website is on WordPress, but I'm going to move it to Squarespace because it's just so much easier for, especially with things like photo galleries and portfolios and, pretty design stuff. It's way easier on Squarespace.
Yes, it looks so clean and nice.
Yeah, it does. And all their templates are mobile responsive, which we can talk about that a little more later too. WordPress, not so much. And then I have Shopify now, and I love it because I have a ton of products. And if you are a maker who has a ton of products, definitely look into Shopify, because that was the thing I found lacking with Squarespace, was that the e-commerce side of things in terms of organization was really tricky. When I had different products I needed on different pages that were in different collections, I'd have to make multiple listings of the same product. So then inventory would get all crazy and it drove me bonkers. But Shopify makes that totally, pain-free to have just one product listing, move it around the website. That makes sense. It's kind of hard to describe without seeing it.
There's definitely a cheat for that within Squarespace, but it's not as easy.
Yeah, I did have a cheat with that where you could upload, I can't remember what it was called, but basically like a gallery of the things, but it only went up to like 20 products, or 30 or something like that. So some of my collections that had multiple products, like if I wanted to put all the art prints on a page, some of them might be missing and I have to manually add them in there double because there would be more than 30 in a collection.
What I've noticed is people use Squarespace for e-commerce stuff. Well, like I'm a good example. I have 12 wax seal stamps. Those are my products. And I have like 3 or 4 digital offerings. It's perfect. Squarespace works lovely for me. It also works really lovely for people who are even just selling one product and want a beautiful site to advertise that. I've seen it done really well that way before too. So each of these platforms just kind of has like unique offerings in the terms of the way they operate and what they are good for, what they maybe like don't work as well with. And that's what we're here for, to tell you guys the difference.
Yeah, I think Squarespace is definitely more of a catch-all. Like anyone can start out with Squarespace, and then Shopify, I would not go there unless you probably have more than 100 products. Because you just can't do as much robust like design work, and their blogs aren't going to look as cute maybe because you have to do coding yourself. So there is a little bit more of a learning curve on the design side with Shopify. But they have like these apps you can add on and stuff, which I've started doing that more, but you have to pay for them. Anyway, Squarespace or Shopify is what we recommend, basically.
Squarespace also has, I'm not sure the back end of Shopify, Cami, but Squarespace has different payment options. So there's like a personal plan, business, and then professional. I think they have like 3 tiers, and kind of based on what you pay is, it unlocks certain features or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not even at the highest one yet for Squarespace. I know at one point you did have the highest one because you wanted the abandoned cart emails for your products, which she has the cutest abandoned cart email. Does it still have the little like raccoon with the
it does.
shopping cart?
Yeah, it's a little raccoon pushing a shopping cart, and it's like, oh, it looks like you left something in your cart, and it's a little GIF, and it's so cute. Anyway, it's amazing. Sometimes it doesn't work when the email sends. It makes me so upset. Still figuring that out. But yeah, Shopify does have different tiers as well. I think I might just be on the first tier on Shopify because it does have more robust e-commerce features. So, but I'll have to look into that. I'm not sure what the next level offers. I think it was like adding on people to your team or something, which I don't need because, hey, it's just me over here. But yeah. Okay, so then in addition to having Shopify or Squarespace, you also are going to need a website host. And I think people get confused on this because it is kind of confusing. So your website host is basically where your website lives, like the space you're renting out in your apartment. So this is setting up your domain name, like the www. How many W's did I just say? www. Anyway, CamiMonet.com or whatever your URL is, you're going to have that set up with a host. So the host I use is GoDaddy, or do I use HostGator? I can't remember. I think I use HostGator for my parents' website and then GoDaddy for my website.
And you've had Cami Monet since you were like 12?
Oh, yeah. I've had CamiMonet.com since I was like 12. I got it first from the domain host I had it from was iwantmyname.com. And it was like $10 a year. And I remember buying that and I was like, I'll always have this. And yeah, it was a good business decision when I was 12. See?
It's hilarious.
I know. So yeah, you can transfer that domain name around different hosts, but to break it down in layman's terms, the host is basically where you're renting an apartment on the internet, and then your website platform like Squarespace or Shopify is where you're making it pretty and putting all your furniture in. Hopefully that makes sense. I tried to break it down.
No, actually, it makes a lot of sense. The nice thing is that some hosting platforms, or excuse me, some building platforms such as Squarespace will allow you to host your domain with them. That's a decision that you can make. For me, I know Eliza Ann Calligraphy is currently hosted with Squarespace. If I ever needed to, I could have Squarespace relinquish it and transfer it to GoDaddy, but I don't see a reason for that in the immediate future. But that is an option if you kind of want a one-stop shop.
Yeah, Squarespace does do that. So definitely, it makes it so easy. See, Squarespace is just the easiest. This should just be an ad for Squarespace.
Do you know what else they do now, which is so cool? I'm not sure if you know about this or not, Cami, but when we were starting to like build out the new Biz Birthday Bash website, I actually took a quiz on Squarespace that allowed me to tell them what I wanted in a website and like what I didn't want. And they basically provided me with a custom template that gave me those specific things I asked for. It was so cool. It made it so easy.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Squarespace is just taking over the world.
Like if you wanted a blog, then you would check off, I want a blog. Or like the parallax effect. Cami was like, we have to have parallax effect. That's when like the images move when you scroll up and down. I was able to check that off too. But that's another Squarespace thing. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Okay, so yeah, they have those templates that will instantly make your site beautiful so you don't even have to think about it, which is awesome. But okay, so now we've got our host figured out. We've got our beautiful furniture, aka website platform figured out. What are some of the things that you definitely want to include on your first website? Like, let's say you're starting from the ground up. Literally, this is the first page that you're making. Or like, yeah, the first homepage. What are some of the things that you would put on yours, or did you put on yours?
My very first website when I launched it, I think was 3 pages. And I think I've talked about this before, maybe in another episode, but it was literally like a homepage with a gallery of pictures, an about page with a picture of me and a summary and a contact page. And those were the 3 things. Like I did not have a blog when I started out. I did not have separate pages for each service that I offered. I just wanted to protect my little corner of the website per se and actually launch myself into that space. And so I just started out really simple. Those are really only the 3 things that you need to start out. But Cami, you've written down some really awesome things that people should think about including, even if their website is really simple. So why don't you cover a couple of those?
Okay, yeah. My number one thing for you guys to have on your first website is a clear call to action. So even if you have just those 3 pages like Elizabeth had on your page, what are you actually wanting them to do from your homepage? Do you want them to book a photography package, inquire about wedding invitations, join your email list, buy this awesome product, whatever it is, have that super clear on your first page. And it's okay if it's just one call to action right now. You don't need to have 8 billion things going on. Keep it simple, So having that clear call to action should be the forefront of your mind as you're building your website. And then, like she said, having that about page so people know who the heck you are is definitely important because you obviously are a huge part of what you're selling. But also, a little about page tip, you want to make sure your about page still has copy that keeps your client front of mind and relates to how you can help them. But don't overthink this right now. That's like website building 102. We're in 101 right now. So just have an about page, talk about yourself, show your face. And then having that portfolio page where you can just throw up some photos of what kind of work you're offering if you are a calligrapher, wedding invitation designer, so they can see examples of your style. If you have no photos of your work, then it's going to be a lot harder to book clients.
Yeah.
So definitely want that. And then, of course, a contact page is probably the number 2 most important thing after the clear call to action, because you want them to obviously contact you. And how are they going to do that? So this is, don't leave a space, like put your website up and don't have any way for them to reach out. So either having the contact form where they can immediately submit their question. I think Squarespace offers this. I think Shopify does as well. I have mine hooked up through Dubsado, so it all goes through there. And then I would also say put your actual email on your contact page too. I think so many entrepreneurs miss this. But for people who are looking to collaborate and not necessarily inquire, they might just want to reach out to you via email, and not trying to book a wedding package or whatnot. So having the actual email is very important as well.
I need to add that.
Oh, yeah.
I actually don't have my actual email on there, but that's my weird, like, obsessive kind of inbox zero, keeping everything organized thing. Like, I like things submitted in a certain way. But I have multiple contact forms throughout my website now. I didn't used to, but I do still have a generic contact page where they can reach out to me with anything. Then I have invitation inquiry page. And then actually just yesterday, I built out a better inquiry form for envelope addressing, because I used to have them just do that through my contact form. But I finally changed that. See, guys, I am more than 2 years in, and I am still figuring out things on my website to make better every single day. So
yeah, I mean, having different types of contact pages is really awesome too, because then you're able to keep your leads organized and know, okay, this came through my wedding invitation contact form. They're obviously interested in that. This came through my invitation addressing form. They're interested in this. So it definitely helps keep your leads in place. And then having a generic one, because people have the most random questions all the time. So yeah. But having an actual email, like if I think that's more for like other businesses or brands and not necessarily like someone inquiring. Like it would be or maybe they just need to add your contact to something that they're like writing a blog. I don't even know. So having that there is definitely important. And then let's see, as you're organizing your website, you obviously, I would say go ahead and brainstorm the pages that you're putting. So if you're just putting the 3 ones out, your homepage, your contact page, about page, and portfolio, make sure that you're providing a space for like the organization of it. It's very clear. And having a site plan, the bird's eye view, ready to go before you even start building out your website. So you know the pieces you need, basically. Having the recipe in place before you bake the cake is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wish that I had done some like thumbnail sketches of the ideas I had in my head of how I wanted things to work. And I'm still learning things every single day about formatting for Squarespace and how you can move things around on the page.
Right.
Do different things here and there. And I have a bad habit of playing with my website a lot, which I know is like not the best habit to get into. I need to be spending energy elsewhere. But Cami mentioned earlier about having copy on your site that keeps your client front of mind. And I'm still working on that, guys. Like, I'm considering hiring a copywriter to help me because I just feel like mine's not doing what it's supposed to right now.
Yeah, the copy is hard. I mean, and that's one of the pieces you want to have in your recipe before you start baking the cake is having a clear idea of what you want your copy to look like. And it's okay if you're like typing it in to fit the space and editing it to fit like a little block or whatever. But definitely just have the idea in mind before you just go all willy-nilly and start adding pages that you don't really need. Because having that clear site plan from the get-go and not switching it up all the time is also really good for Google because it can easily map out your site and little robots can crawl all over it and connect the pages to where they need to be. The page titles aren't like about page /2 because you made a second one. It's very clear. So it's just very nice to have that structure from the get-go and not messing with it as you go around. It's basically just like rearranging the building blocks over and over again when you could have just done it right the first time.
Yeah, I know. I ended up doing that so much when I started mine because I just didn't know what I was doing. I'll touch too on the fact that a lot of people get hung up on having a perfect logo before they make a website.
Oh my gosh,
I actually get that question all the time, and I've heard that feedback a lot. It's like, well, I don't have my logo done. How can I make a website? You just choose a font that you like, a block font most likely, and just leave that as your placer for now. Like Squarespace, I know just lets you type something in to be the header of your site. That makes it really nice and easy. I mean, Biz Birthday Bash, that is a font that we use.
We don't even have a logo. We don't have a logo at all for anything. So
whoops.
I know. Can you believe this, guys? We don't have a logo, but maybe we should make a logo, but that's okay.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, that's my point, is we haven't needed an official logo to really be able to talk to our ideal audience well and to deliver products that, you know, speak to them specifically. They're not sitting there going, oh gosh, I don't know. Like, they don't have a logo. I don't think I can trust them.
They don't even have a logo. They don't know you don't have a logo. They think that's your logo. As long as you don't use Comic Sans or something, it's going to be fine. Like,
yeah.
Then you're not going to get any sales. Yeah, and people get hung up on the colors too. Oh my Lord. It's like, just keep it black and white if you want. Keep it simple. You don't have to have like 32 colors. I know I get hung up on colors a lot when I was starting out.
Yeah, you love your colors for sure.
I know. I still don't have my brand colors figured out.
What? I could tell you what your brand colors are. I know what your brand colors are.
Oh, you do? Okay. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Sage green.
Sage green is definitely it. And that's all I know. Maybe gray.
Gray and a blue, like a soft blue. Yeah, I think those are your three.
Okay, maybe I do know my brand colors, but I don't have the hex codes figured out except for the sage green. It's B1, BD, B9, so that's my fave. But
I think I actually caught Cami off guard because when we did the Biz Birthday Bash website, and I was like, and here are all our hex codes for all our colors, and she was like, what the frick?
Well, I know. I was like, wait, I didn't get to pick a color. Like, what the heck? But also, before we did the website, we were just like, just use a light pink and a turquoise. It doesn't matter. And then all of a sudden, we were like, got all official about it, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. We toned down our colors from previously. For those of you guys who have been around for a while, you might have noticed that we had really teals.
Let's just talk
really
about
pinks.
The first Biz Bash website that we did. I mean, we really loved it because we were just so excited about Biz Birthday Bash. But now looking back on it, I'm like, dang, we really needed to like grow up a little bit.
Yeah, really intense. We needed help. Well, so guys, that's my experience with Wix. So I basically built that out. Cammy's stomping on my baby. No, I'm just
sorry. I know it's your baby.
No, because I can see it now too. But at the time, we were basically just planning for the launch of Biz Birthday Bash 2018 last fall. And I wanted to visually be able to communicate that we had one bundle that people could buy or they could pay for separate webinars. And I didn't know how else to do that besides like custom building.
So what you're saying is you wanted to have a clear call to action. Am I right? Yes.
Yes, I did. And so Wix is the way I figured out how to do that. But man, Wix is just...
We're idiots. We should have gone with Squarespace.
Yeah, but now that's another thing is like in terms of mistakes and quote unquote failures. It wasn't a failure. It did exactly what it was supposed to for that time.
Totally.
But for moving forward, Cami and I had a much better idea of like, okay, here's what we need. Here's what we want it to look like now. Let's step up our game a little more, make it a little easier, make it a little nicer on the eyes instead of like blinding someone when they come to our website page. But
I know, like an 80s party gone wrong. Actually, I mean, I still loved it because I love the 80s, but still.
Actually, I think I had a jacket in the 90s that was like literally those colors. I should find a picture of me.
Probably your Buzz Lightyear shoes are those colors, aren't they? Oh no, those are a little bit more.
They don't have pinks. They have like yellows and blues. Guys, I should post a picture of those to Instagram.
Gosh, they're amazing. I wish I still had my 80s sneakers, but I got rid of them because Alex didn't like them. I mean, they are very unattractive, but
those are the things we get attached to. And I was attached to that website for a long time. And Cami was kind of the one who was like, okay. She was like, we need to move to Squarespace because it just makes things so much easier.
Yeah. And we had a better idea of what we actually wanted our business to look like. So yeah, your first website doesn't have to be this beautiful, glorious monument. It probably will suck, but you can always make it better. I'm so inspirational.
Oh my gosh.
I thought mine sucked too, but you get better. You figure out, more of what you're looking for and how to present that in a way that makes sense, making it user friendly, easy to navigate. One of the best things you can do for building your website is just go look at other websites and see how they're laid out. How are they organizing their products? I mean, I still need to work on mine because mine's a hot mess, but how are they organizing their products? What's in their navigation? What are some of the cool functions that you're like, wow, this is really easy for me to find this page? If it's taking a visitor 4 clicks to get to somewhere to buy something from you, that's too many. You want to make it as few clicks as possible for them to give you money. Just keeping it as user-friendly as possible and doing the mom test. We all love the mom test. You put your mom on your website and say, hey, I need you to book wedding invitations with me. And if she can't get there in 2 minutes flat or less than that, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, try like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know where I got 2 minutes from, but I guess filling out the inquiry form.
People's attention spans are just almost next to nothing online. And I'm sure anybody can relate because when people, AKA myself, browse websites, if it doesn't load fast enough, I'm like, I don't know. Is it worth it to even stay?
Oh, that is so true. Ooh, that reminds me. There's this website where you can get visitors, random people from the internet who will go and review your site. And you just get a video recording of them opening up your site and being like, okay, looks like this person's a calligrapher or whatever. I always get like a weird dude. Like, I don't know if they even have it. If I find it, I can't remember the name of it. I'm going to link it in the show notes because it's awesome. And they'll just send you a video and they tell you what they think of your site and what their first impression of it is. It's really cool because it's someone totally random. Like, it's not your friends who know what you do. So yeah, that was a really good resource for me. Like, if they could see above the fold, meaning before you scroll down, if they knew what I was doing, then I was like, okay, this is good. They know what I'm doing. Because sometimes they were like, maybe she's a photographer. And I'm like, crap. So had to change some things.
I used to have an app too. Man, all the things we can't remember the names of.
I know. Really helpful.
Would tell me where people were clicking on the website.
Oh, like a heat map. The heat map
kind of. And how long they would stay on a page. And the really interesting thing is people would click on stuff all the time that wasn't clickable. So it teaches you a lot about visual cues for buttons and images and how people are trying to navigate your site. And so I remember changing some things around because I'm like, well, if people think this is clickable and it's not, maybe I should make it clickable.
Maybe I should actually make it clickable. Yeah, that is a great insight. I think there's some websites. Just Google heat map for your website, and I'm sure there's some resources that will pop up and different things you can check out. And I think Google Analytics, if you set that up for your website too, you can see the paths people take, like the different clicks that they're getting to get through your website, which brings me back to another point on linking your pages. You want to make your website just come full circle. Like if people are clicking stuff, they just go through a little path all through your website. So always have your pages linked, like at the bottom of your about page, being like, oh, what can I help you with? Or linking your contact form, linking your wedding invitations inquiry page from there. Maybe on your wedding invitations inquiry page, you link back to your about page so you can be like, meet the artist or whatnot. Just basically leaving little breadcrumbs all around your website so they stay on it longer.
Absolutely. Like for my portfolio, for my invitations, it would be pointless to have that page if there wasn't a call to action to inquire.
Yeah.
So that's just like a general example. Going back to some of these other tips that we have written for making your website visually appealing, it looks like you wrote down, Cami, lots of white space and high resolution photos, which is such a good point.
Yeah, but not too high res because you don't want them to slow down everything. If your site takes forever to load, that's no bueno either. But yeah, definitely having those high res photos. You need at least 72 DPI for web, which is really, it's like a pretty low DPI. If you're a stationery, like 300 is for printing. But you just want to make sure you don't have pixelated images because I think that just makes your website look horrible. No offense. I hate when that happens. So making sure you have high res photos, it just elevates your brand and makes sure you're, taking care of all the details. And then another thing that drives me bonkers is when the navigation menu doesn't fit on one line. So that probably means you have too many things in your navigation. So I would definitely focus on simplifying that when you're planning out your site plan. And you could have multiple things under one. Like if you click on it, it pops down with another menu, but just making sure your main menu is pretty streamlined and simple.
Yes. Absolutely. You also don't want to leave people guessing what a navigation item might be. So don't get like too crazy creative with what you call categories.
Too clever.
Yeah, like for contact, literally the best word you can use is contact. If you use something like cheesy and weird that doesn't communicate in the same
don't
way.
Put like call me maybe or something.
Yeah, right? Like try not to do that. I'm trying to think of other examples I've seen. I'm so conscious of it now when I'm on websites and I'm looking for a specific page and I can't find it. And then I realize it's under something like funky that they've called it. And I'm like, why would you do that? It does not make it easy to navigate for your customer at all.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some people write journal instead of blog, and I can't decide if I like that or not. But I think blog is more, everyone knows what a blog is. I mean, maybe your great grandma doesn't, but journal, I don't know. I think just keeping it clear and simple and to the point. You don't want to be clever. This is not the time to be clever. Be clever on your blogs, not on your naming of them.
Yeah. I've also seen a ton of different varieties for online shop.
Oh, like market.
Yeah. that's another thing that can get kind of confusing too. I mean, I guess it depends on your brand story and all that good stuff and the message you're trying to convey. If you're selling food, like a high quality like peanut butter, maybe market would make sense. It's like, oh, that's cute. I'm going to market.
Oh yeah, that is cute.
Yeah, but those are just things to keep in mind. If you're selling products, like for me, my wax seals, I'm just going to call it shop because that's where people can find it.
Yeah, so. I mean, it's pretty much the most basic call to action there is. So yeah, zero confusion. Okay, so once you have all of your beautiful website built, it's organized, you've got high-res photos, you've got your menu, you're on Squarespace because it's awesome. Then as you're building all this, you want to make sure you're optimizing for SEO, which is going to get you found on Google, which, I mean, if you don't know what SEO is, it's search engine optimization. And it's basically so people can find you on the internet. And it is a game changer for your business. And this is way too much to explain here, but we do have an SEO ranking cheat sheet available in our 2018 bundle, which is now known as Business Sense for Creatives on bizbirthdaybash.com. And the cheat sheet has 11 pages of how you can add keywords, long tail keywords, short tail keywords, and get your site optimized properly so Google will put you to the top of the page on ranking and people will book you and find you. So
yes,
definitely want to get on
that. Definitely get on that at bizbirthdaybash.com/2018-bundle if you are interested in learning more about that. And yes, we are changing the name of it to Business Sense for Creatives. That was kind of the feedback we got from everybody that sounded awesome in terms of marketing it to future people who might be interested in learning from us.
Yeah, but anyway, so you can get that as one of the PDF downloads. There's 3 webinars and 3 PDF downloads. They're awesome, so check it out. But then also when it comes to SEO, you really want to make sure that your website works on mobile because Google will punish you if your site isn't mobile friendly. So they're going to punish you in your rankings. So I think Squarespace, apparently our love affair today, is all their templates are responsive and mobile friendly. Some with WordPress aren't. So you're going to have to just make sure you're looking at your website on mobile to make sure things aren't getting like placed differently or some things aren't appearing. Like we had an issue with the bizbirthdaybash.com when we looked on mobile, the cart wasn't showing up. So if you tried to buy something, you couldn't check out because the cart wasn't showing up on mobile, which thank goodness checked that before we started selling stuff. Otherwise, people would have been like, what the heck? Because most people are, using from their phones and iPads, mobile devices. So you really need to make sure your website can handle all of those things and check it. So you can also just adjust the size of your browser to see it mobile if you want to see how that works really quickly. But yeah, gotta have those responsive websites, y'all.
You can make your browser super skinny and it'll go into mobile view, or you can hover at the top and it'll let you toggle between the different ones. Squarespace has made some really cool updates lately in terms of SEO as well. I think each individual page now, if you go to the advanced settings, actually has a tab for SEO, Cami.
That's
and
awesome.
I think that's like new since you departed to Shopify.
I left them, but
well, to the dark side. No, I'm just kidding.
To the dark side.
Overall, we're just aiming for the fact that you want to keep your website simple at the beginning. Don't get too caught up in those really small details like colors and logos, etc. Those will come as your brand grows and as it changes, especially if you're building something alone from the ground floor up. And if it's just you, then it takes time to figure all of that out. Like most small creative entrepreneurs aren't hiring someone off the bat and paying them 10 grand to design a perfect website for them. That's generally not how most of us are operating.
Yeah.
So don't get hung up on that stuff. We definitely loaded you guys up with some awesome details today that might freak you out, might make you nervous. I guess we did a little bit of 101 and 102 in the same episode, but hopefully you'll just be able to listen through a couple of times if you missed anything and glean some additional information. But
yeah,
keep it simple and just put it out there because you want to protect your corner of the internet.
Yeah, just learn as you go and your website will totally grow with you guys. And we're so excited to see what your websites look like. So yeah, keep it, oh, shoot.
Keep it happening, y'all.
Happening, y'all. I don't even know what I'm saying. You know what it's time for? It's time for lunch, Elizabeth. We gotta go.
I know. I think it's time for a lunch break, guys.
Man. Anyway.
Anyhow. Yeah, no, I think that kind of wraps everything up for today. Just remember, if you're enjoying the podcast, subscribe on iTunes. Make sure you leave us a review. That's how we get found by other creatives that might be interested in us. And we will see you guys next time for episode 8.
Bye.